Good day, everybody. Today is Wednesday, and we're midweek, and we're looking at our daily Psalms for hope, and we're at Psalm 56. So if you want to get out your Bibles, let's look at this psalm. This is a psalm that David wrote while he was being pursued by Saul, and he found himself in the area of the Philistines. And this is where, if you're familiar with the story, he pretended to be crazy, and so they accepted him in, and and he escaped from Saul, at least temporarily. But this is a psalm that he wrote in the midst of all that. So let's look at this. Psalm 56. Be gracious to me, O God, for man tramples on me. All day long an attacker oppresses me. My enemies trample on me all day long, for many attack me proudly. When I'm afraid, I put my trust in you, in God, whose word I praise. In God I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can flesh do to me? All day long they injure my cause. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They stir up strife, they lurk. They watch my steps as they have waited for my life. For their crime will they escape? In wrath cast down the peoples, O God. You have kept count of my tossings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Then my enemies will turn back in the day when I call. This I know, that God is for me. In God, whose word I praise, in the Lord, whose word I praise, in God I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can man do to me? I must perform my vows to you, O God. I will render thank offerings to you, for you have delivered my soul from death, yes, my feet from falling, that I may walk before God in the light of life. In the light of life. I like this psalm. The intimacy of God is just amazing. When you think about a creator of the universe, one who knows intimately every single person that he has created, it just becomes mind-blowing. But, this whole idea of this intimacy is so profound in this psalm. David, in verse 8, he says, you have kept count of my tossings. There's another word for tossings could be wanderings. You have kept count of my wanderings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Put my tears in your bottle. Even the tears of our sorrows sometimes, even the cries of our heart, he knows. He knows what vexes our souls. He knows the depth of things that bother us. And it just is amazing to me that this God who is as intimate as this, it really does can change one's perspective, and it did for David. I mean, look at what he says. He says, in God I trust, I shall not be afraid. What can man do to me? In verse 3 he says, when I'm afraid, I put my trust in you. In God, whose word I praise. In God I trust, I shall not be afraid. What can flesh do to me? You see, that's trusting in the intimacy. Because if the God of the universe knows our wanderings and counts them all and puts my tears, even the tears, in his bottle to preserve and cherish, because he is there in the midst of our sorrow, how can we not? How can we be afraid if the God of the universe is this intimate with us? this knowing of everything that is going on within us. David's point is, how can I be afraid? How can I be afraid of all that's going on in the world right now? How can I be afraid of the things that remain uncertain in my future? How can I be afraid of other people and the words that they sometimes use in a hateful and demeaning way? How can I be afraid of all of that if this God is as intimate as he is? And it really is an amazing thought to think about. You have kept count of my tossings or my wanderings. Put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? In God I trust. I shall not be afraid. What can man do to me? If a God is like this, what can man do to me? What can anything do to me? Good thought for the day. And if you're going through something, please, just know that this God is as intimate as this in your life, as well as mine. And that changes a lot. So may God's blessings be upon you today, and as always, share those blessings whenever and wherever you can. Until the next time, peace